Hello, and welcome to QuestLore, a family Lorcana podcast for each and every week. Our loving family talks to you about Lorcana and everything we love about that game.
So let's start all weekend how we usually do it.
Introductions. I'm Matt.
I'm Malcolm. I'm Emmett.
And I'm Jen. Now, Emmett.
Now what do we do, Emmett?
Now we talk about how we did at least, which
Okay, I don't know why you didn't hear
No
that.
need to whisper, buddy.
So,
which me and Mom didn't.
we didn't get to play.
I had pictures.
Yes, he had to take his pictures for his dance class. So we had to miss league play. But these two went and played on Sunday. So Malcolm, how'd you do at leagues?
Got fourth place.
Yeah,
That's
you did
awesome.
Really good. You went 2-1. Did really good.
But what did you find worked really well for you on Sunday, Malcolm?
Pilot piglet. Yeah, one time I got 3 pilot piglets out at the same time.
How much more would that quest for?
9.
9 in one single turn. And what was it, like turn 3?
Oh, yeah, we also had not turn 3, turn 4, but we also had a reload out.
Wow. That's crazy. So you got 11 in one turn on turn 4. Wow.
That can go fast. I lost a couple games. Didn't do as well, but I was trying out a new deck.
Is it the
What kind of deck were you trying out?
Bubble?
No, it was Sapphire and Steel. Mm-hmm. So that
What's
deck.
so about that deck?
So the thing with that deck is you use the blue stuff to ramp up a lot of ink really fast, right? You get a lot of ink in your inkwell.
Cards.
And then
and
then you play cards. And then basically you empty out your hand with like the fishbone quill to get your ink full really fast, and then you play a whole new world to refill your hand. And then really what you want to do is be able to play a lucky dime.
What does the lucky dime do again?
So for the lucky dime, it's an item that costs 7, uninkable. But when you pay 2 ink and tap the dime, you gain lore equal to a character on your field. So.
Wait, do you have Goofy in that deck?
No, I do not use Goofy in that deck.
Well, what do you have that quest for 3?
But I have Gaston, that quest for 3. I have Belle, that when you're over 10ing, quests for 5.
Oh.
And I have Tamatoa,
yeah.
who quests for 1 plus however many number of items you have on the field. You'll already have Lucky Dime on the field, and odds are you'll have Popsicle, and possibly the Fishbone Quill. So I've had him up to like 5 more before himself, where he's questing for 5, and then my Dime's questing for 5. So it can get things really quickly.
Wow.
Wait, what was
that Belle is a menace, by the way.
It is.
I do not like playing against that Belle.
If I see that Belle, I'm just like.
Yeah.
The problem with the deck people have against the deck is that you can play those cards, the Belle, the Tamatoa, the Gaston, and then I can instantly get the lore instead of having to wait a turn.
Right.
So it is a deck that can win very quickly all of a sudden, but it is a very hard deck to pilot, take care of, to run. And I made a few mistakes for sure. Need some more practice with it, but it definitely has a lot of potential with it.
And then you played again last night, and how did you do there with that same deck?
Night, that was a different deck, so I went back to Old Faithful, to my Ruby Amethyst control deck. I went 2 for 1 there. I lost to someone playing aggro. They were playing not yours. They were playing Ruby and Amethyst aggro. So similar to mine.
How would that work?
So.
How you can't get any of those like reloads out on the first turn. Oh, Maleficent.
Right. So he has Maleficence. He has the Pinocchio that quests for 3.
What about Simba?
Then the Simba that quests for 3 as well. So he had a few of those out, and I just couldn't take care of them fast enough.
What about the goats?
He had goats, but he didn't need to get to the goats because he's questing for like 6 on turn 3, or like actually he's questing for like 8 on turn 3, and I couldn't really do anything to stop him. He had like the Arthur out. Yeah. I have some stuff in there that can stop those things, but I just didn't see them. So that happened.
One time I actually tried an aggro deck at a draft. Like tried to get aggro cards at a draft.
Yeah, you built a city of items in the draft.
Oh, God,
We don't trust you at drafts.
You couldn't quest with those items. They weren't.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was like the first draft I did, so I didn't even get a time. Items are people.
Okay.
I'll take them.
All right, calm down.
But it's good to get out there and practice, practice, and practice. I think we'll all be able to play this Sunday.
Yes.
Which will be the last time for most of us, unless we sneak out again. Before set championships get started. We've got a bunch. We're all going to go to the one at our normal local game store. Not this Sunday, but the following Sunday. That should be exciting. Though there are 34 people signed up, it is official that it is full.
34.
34
wow.
people, which means a lot of Lorcana that day.
Woo.
So,
Wait,
at
are you
least
two
6
signed up?
rounds.
All 4 of us are signed
All
up
4 of us are signed up.
for our regular spot at 8th side.
And we are going to talk a little bit more this week about what to do to prepare for set championship.
Is the set championship the thing with the?
That's where we're going to be playing all day. We're the rights. So so why don't you remind everybody, Dad, what the prizes are for the winners of these championships?
Sure. So let's get over to what we normally have. For those that are listening, we are going to go over our set championship stuff. I've got images on YouTube if you want to see what they are and want to see our lovely faces. Feel free to join us on YouTube, but feel free to keep listening as well. We'll always describe everything that's going on.
Will return in May.
Emmett.
Ursula's return is still coming. We don't have any new news for Ursula's return this week because it's all still about the Lorcana Set Championship, where the top 4 are going to get the Stitch promo card, and then the top 2 will get a Stitch playmat. The top winner, their playmat will say champion. However, it will be just as rare as the person that comes in second that doesn't say champion. So from a value perspective, they should be about the same because just the top 2 get them in even numbers. That's how math works.
They'll say champion, Matt.
Say champion, yeah.
So they'll be worth more for sure.
For sure. But look at that beautiful Stitch card.
So cool.
How much dollars would that go for?
Who knows?
Who knows? We'll see what it's running for after the first weekend and see how people are doing. I'm going to play in at least 4.
You say at least. Like, how many more can you possibly do? Are there still any that
2 I could possibly do. So
that still have spots available?
That I have spots reserved at.
Oh, okay.
So one is on Saturday. It's going to depend on how long auditions take because I want to try out for a show for myself. We've talked about how these kids do theater. We like to do theater as well. So there's a show.
The theater family.
That we for sure want to try out for. Local theater group is doing actual Shakespeare
in the park.
In the park,
which is cool.
Midsummer Night's Dream. I want to try out for that. So auditions for that start at 1. All right. And there's a tournament that starts at 2. So
where though?
In Southgate.
Oh, okay.
So it depends on how they run the auditions because they said prepare a monologue. So I don't know if it's just you go up, you read the monologue, that's your audition. Like if that's the case.
They said it was dropping, so I think so.
If that's the case, I might just do that and then run.
Yeah.
Get there early, do it, and go. And then I have a second one reserved on the last Sunday. But that's going to be more like if I've been just beaten up and losing a ton over the course of the week, I'll probably just go to the 8th side. Or if I've won already, I'll just go to the 8th side. If it's all been like I barely make it, then I might just go to that instead. So
gotcha.
So that's why it's at least
because you don't want to miss out on league play.
Right. Exactly. I need those pins. So those prizes are going to be highly sought after. This is kind of from what I've been told, these things should be like we're wading into the very competitive circuit of Lorcana. Our store seems like it has really good players. Either that or we're worse than we thought. But the players seem really good. And I know they've competed in 1Ks and they top 8 and things all the time.
Oh, yeah.
We've put up a decent battle against them. So
I think every single one of us have beat at least one person who's done big tournaments that have placed in the top 10 of those tournaments. So I think we're pretty good.
Yeah, I think we're okay. So, but it is a different mindset. This will be a more competitive atmosphere then
it's dinner.
yeah, our dinner's running in the background. Chicken tacos tonight. All right. Anyways, so this is where we're going to get a little bit more competitive. It's not going to be the people will still be friendly, I'm sure. Everyone I've ever seen doing the game has been friendly. There's not really too many sour grapes among them. Maybe
a few, but not a
But this
ton.
is the different mindset because this is we are actually paying for something that could be worth a decent amount of money. So it is a different atmosphere, and there are some different things you want to make sure.
Paper and pencils.
So paper and pencil. Right now, the way we are always all tracking lore is we all have our own custom play mats. Mine is Kingdom Hearts. Malcolm, what's yours?
I want the Lucky Rabbit.
Emmett, what are you rocking?
The painting the roses red leaf-wise.
From what?
Alice in Wonderland.
That features.
The Queen of Hearts.
There we go.
Royal card.
Just the Queen of Hearts.
Yeah, just the Queen of Hearts.
And mine is a Rapunzel the lantern scene.
Right, and all of them have some numbers up at the top so that you can track lore that way, where each are using little movers to move a little guy along to keep track of our lore. When you get into a more competitive space, you kind of want to use paper and pencil to track the lore, right? You want to make sure that you're keeping track of both yours and your opponent's lore. And accurately doing it so that you have a record of kind of how it's went. So that if there is any discrepancies, you guys can compare notes and see who's there.
Yeah.
A judge is going to side with the person who's keeping it on paper and pencil rather than someone that's using a dice or someone that's using a tracker on a mat or anything like that, because little guys can fall over, they can get moved. Yep. Dice can roll a little bit.
And also, just be careful. Like, sometimes when you're playing for fun, like, little things happen. Like, people mix up their discard pile with their ink, or their ink with their hand.
Yeah.
And things like that, where people forget to move, forget to move their piece, or forget to move their die, forget to take, do something when they think that they have. And so, writing it down on paper with a paper and a notepad. And a notepad's probably the best way to do it, like a small notepad. And, that's probably the best way to do it.
We even got our own D20 right here.
Yeah, but again, we're saying that we don't want to use that.
So I'll make sure we all have pads of paper and pencils to kind of keep track of our lore, keep track of your opponent's lore too during these. Again, remember, it's a much more competitive atmosphere, so we're taking things a little bit more seriously.
Wow.
Good sleeves. So while we're playing this weekend, my homework or play work for all of you is to check out the sleeves while you're using them. Make sure that you don't have a lot of sleeves that are kind of starting to rip or are in bad condition, because we'll want to replace those.
Yep. I know, basically, especially it's hard to shuffle, and you can sometimes they get caught up in each other if the sleeves are ripped, so definitely important.
It's more important because there could be things where people kind of say, hey, you might be cheating because this sleeve looks a little bit different than the rest of your sleeve, so you know what card is in that sleeve, and you're kind of trying to cheat and shuffle and do all sorts of shenanigans. So you want your sleeves to be in good condition. If you need to, replace them. Sleeves aren't meant to last forever. So, family, take a look at your sleeves while you're playing this weekend. See what we need. And
also, like, what kind of sleeves do you recommend if people are doing this for the first time? What's the best kind of sleeves that we enjoy?
Ours are all Dragon's Shields.
Yeah, Dragon Shield. I feel like
that seems to be the go-to.
The go-to, yeah.
Ones.
And another thing too is I know that it's always especially in a competitive environment, it's always better to have solid back sleeves rather than clear sleeves. Because again, for the same reason, if maybe there's a card that's in a slightly bent condition or different condition, it could look different when it is clear on the outside. And that, somebody could call you out for cheating on that. So if you are going to be buying new sleeves, the solid back sleeves are definitely the way that you want to go.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Good point. Whatever you do, don't buy the Lorcana sleeves.
Oh my God, no. Don't use those.
Those are garbage.
Like, they're so cute, but no.
Yeah, we have 2 sets of the puppy sleeves that we were able to get during the release of the Influence sets weekends. We got both of those. And Emmett's used them. And I've had to shuffle those cards. And yeah, those sleeves are garbage. Don't do it. Then deck lists. So you're probably going to have to submit all the cards in your deck on a list at the start of the tournament. So, yep, you're going to have to write them and make a weird face, just like that. It's perfect for our audio listeners. Thank you. You're going to have that list ready. There are many apps or websites available that you can kind of build your deck visually and then basically print that out, copy it to a clipboard, put it in a Word document, print it out, whatever you need to do. I recommend dreamborn.inc. It's a great one for building lists out. You can go on the website, see other lists that other people have. But that's what I'm going to be using to basically build all of our decks there and print them out and bring that list with us. So you don't want to be moving things around and changing things last minute. You want to decide on what your deck is going to be like a couple hours before, at least, so that you can have that deck list finalized and bring it with you. Otherwise, they'll make you write it all out when you get there, and that doesn't sound any fun.
Awful.
Yeah. Next, no takebacks.
So yeah, no takebacks, and this is especially for kids. Like, you need to be careful.
Yeah. So we're used to playing in a regular friendly league where, oops, I forgot to do that. Oop, I'm sorry. Definitely hear a lot of Midwestern.
Oops.
Oh, so sorry there.
Oop.
Yeah, no, I forgot to play that. Trying to grab your lore, like you pass your turn, like, oh, I forgot to quest. That's not gonna sit well in a more competitive environment.
And so especially be careful if you're using locations, because like technically the rule is you're supposed to take your lore at the beginning of your turn, and so if you don't,
you draw your card. Technically, you've missed when you're supposed to grab your lore.
And so that's and your opponent does not have to let you take it at that point. So so do make sure, like, if you are like, this is not the time to be trying out something new.
Yeah.
Like, if you are not like used to using locations where you take the lore at the beginning rather than, when you quest, do not try them now. Like, because you might lose a whole bunch of lore that you don't mean to lose.
Right. A big something that has been going on in the Lorcana Twitter space the past few days are, what would you do if someone tries to cast a spell? This was let it go on a character that has ward. So technically, by the rules, if I say I'm paying 5 and I'm playing let it go, and they try to point it at someone that has ward, they technically can't do that. Do you let them take that back, or do you say, sorry, you played that, and you don't have a target? There's a lot of questions on what would you do there.
Yeah.
Basically, you can either be nice or you can, take advantage of them.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, so like, what about like something too? Like, if you were to say, oh, I'm gonna attack this person, and because you didn't realize they had resist, and you said, oh, you can't because they have resist. Like, do you just still lose that?
Well, they can still attack them if they have resist. They just don't do any damage to them.
Oh, okay.
If evasive, like, you can't challenge them at all. So that would be more of a, you can't do that action at all. So that's more the, if they're evasive, you can't do it at all. So you can't actually challenge them.
Right.
If they have resist, you didn't realize that. Oh no.
Oh no, I meant evasive, not resist. As I meant the evasive.
Sure.
Like,
okay.
So like, if you were attacking somebody with evasive and you're not allowed to, like, can you not take that back? Because that's a mistake I make all the time, because I don't play evasive characters, so I don't know all the evasive characters in the deck.
You can take that back because technically you can't do that at all.
Okay, that was the one I didn't mean resist. I meant evasive.
Yeah, okay.
Because with resist, that's your bad. Like, but that I meant more evasive, because that's the mistake I find myself making a lot, is not knowing who's evasive.
Mm-hmm. And the last kind of trick here is know your foe. Your first person that you're playing, you may not have any idea who you are playing against, what you're playing against anybody that you sit down against. Any of the people that you're normally used to playing with might be playing a different deck. They might be playing a new person, but you're going to know what colors they're playing pretty soon. And so you should be aware of what kind of stuff that color can do.
Or especially color combinations.
Yeah.
So like, if you see an amethyst steel deck and you see small Jafars coming out,
yeah,
then chances are they've got a big Jafar coming, so you should get rid of those little Jafars immediately.
Same thing with little bells. Like they can shift into that
big big scary bell.
The Floodborn bell that Quest for 3. No, not the Inking one.
Oh.
That's not a Floodborn. The Floodborn one that Quest for 3, and when you attack it, it's basically a whole new world.
Yeah. So and that's that's the. I don't think so, but no, but it's so yeah, and it's
the one bell thing, the archer.
Oh, the archer one?
Yeah, no. Nobody uses that. But so just no, and so if you are going to be playing in one of these tournaments, do some research if you haven't played a ton. So like what the common decks are. Like if you just go and look up like people playing Lorcana on YouTube, you can even see I know Matt's done a couple of lunches, QuestLore lunches, where he plays, and you can watch him play different decks. That's watch a couple of those if you haven't been able to actually play, so you can see what people are playing. Like, what are people playing? What combinations, and what do those combinations do? So that way you can prepare and you know how to defend against them. Because unfortunately, unlike regular league play, we're only playing 2 matches, not 3. So
No, it's 3.
Oh, is it 3? I thought this one was 2.
That's only for the Disney Lorcana Challenge.
Oh, that's the big one.
Yeah.
Oh, right. So you want to try in that first game to figure out while you're playing, so you don't lose that first game immediately.
And then after you finished one of your games, it's a good idea to just get up and take a walk around, not just to exercise your legs, but to see what other colors people are playing.
Yeah, that's good.
Maybe you're fighting into them. There's no rule that says you can't go spectate on another match. Unless your store puts that rule in place, there's no Disney rule against doing that. So unless your store puts that in place, feel free to get up, walk around, see what the other colors are, so that when you start playing maybe one of those people, do you have to play fast because they've got a long game, or do you play slow, or do you need to make sure you're keeping item removal, keeping character removal, all that kind of stuff, give you a little bit of knowledge to go in. The last bit of advice I have, it's not on here, because I just kind of thought of it while we were talking, is know yourself.
Know yourself.
Know your foe, but then know yourself. When you're trying to come up with what deck are you going to play with, the answer is, what are you most comfortable with? What have you been playing?
And what do you have fun playing with?
Sure.
Like I stick with Steel Song because I have fun playing with that deck. It turns out that it's actually a little bit more competitive now with the new Inkland cards, which is awesome. But it's fun. Like I find myself having the most fun when I play that deck. And I know Malcolm, you seem to have the most fun when you play an aggressive deck, right?
Aggro.
Yeah. And I mean, I think it has fun playing whatever he's playing. So he's been trying out different things.
Like one time in a draft, I tried out an.
Well, we're not talking about drafts right now, so. But like, what do you just like playing in general?
Evasive and discard decks.
All right, so there we go. And so yeah, know what you like playing.
And play that.
And play
if you're not sure what you're most comfortable with, and you're like, I'm looking at all these different deck lists, and maybe I should go with this thing because it won the last tournament. No, just go with what you know how to play and stick with that.
Has Zelda ever played Lorcana?
How can Zelda play Lorcana? She's a dog.
She doesn't have thumbs, buddy. Okay, so last week we were talking about some terms for trading card games, and I thought we would go back to that, learn some more new terms. So play and draw.
Playing means so when you draw a card, that means you draw a card at the beginning of your turn. So drawing is like taking a card from your deck.
Okay, so yes, that is.
Do you mean like draw for turn and draw for play?
I'm saying if I'm on the play or if I'm on the draw, what does that mean?
Oh, if you're on the play, that means you are the first person to play, and if you're on the draw, that means you're going to play second.
Correct.
Because the person who goes first doesn't draw a card. They play with what they have in their hand. Where when you go second, you draw first. And so, I know you said that it does seem there's a slight advantage to being on the play.
It seems to be more than slight.
Okay.
It seems to be if you look at Pixelborn, right, the app that people use to play Lorcana online, it's like 70% of the time the person that went first wins.
Okay.
According to Ravensburger, they say it's 52%. People are like, nope, you're wrong. And that is probably why they've gone to that best of two game format for the Disney Lorcana Challenge, because then someone's always going first, and then the next turn they're going second. So it eliminates that need.
And again, and that's why it's not always that, you don't automatically go first if you win the coin toss or the roll or whatever. It's that you get to choose, and most people choose to be on the play, but not everybody, but most people. I've played a few that didn't, that I lost to.
You should usually play on the play.
Yeah.
So next we've got buff. What do you guys think buff means?
No idea.
Not great for an audio pod.
Strength.
Super strength. So how does that work with Lorcana?
Maui, yes.
So
Goofy.
Like strong cards.
Just Maui being a buff demigod.
Yeah.
That's why there's a
Or
term for
Gaston.
it. Look, he's buff.
Yeah.
I just like looking at this guy because he got muscles.
No, because he's got a lot of attack.
Okay, so because he got a lot of attack, you're in the ballpark, right? It's an increase to the stats of a card. So their attack power. If I increase their amount of their attacking, I'm buffing them up.
Oh.
All right.
Okay.
I thought that's some in video games.
Yes, it is used in video games, using this card and this too. Can you guys think of an example of when you buff up a card in Lorcana?
I mean, when you
what's it called? The support?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Support.
Support.
Would buff up someone, yep.
When you go to Maui's island. Like when you go to a location, is what he's saying. Like some locations.
Some locations do
will
buff them up. Crafts will give someone like +3 right per turn.
Does resist count as buffing it up?
If you give someone resist, that is like buffing their resist.
So like there's locations that will
giving,
increase resist.
Or like giving someone evasive or rust.
Oh,
There's a couple cards that can do that.
And that's a kind of buff, yeah. Usually it's for attack power, but yeah, it's any type of stats to a card.
Okay, so support would be the most common one.
Probably, except I don't think anyone ever uses support. So
I used to all the time with my queen.
Oh right, yeah.
I used to use the five queen that you.
It's a kind of support. It takes away and gives some. It's similar to support, but it's not a normal.
But it's
support.
A buffing up.
But it's definitely a buffing.
Mm-hmm.
Million. You play a million cards.
It's when you explain
It's actually funny. That's not what it means. But someone actually made a deck where they used Cubby, and you use 2 locations, okay, and then you had the map of Treasure Planet on there, which lets you move people between locations for 1 cost less. Well, whenever you move Cubby to a location, his strength goes up by like 3. So they had 2 locations. They just kept moving him back and forth, until like his power level got over 9,000. And I saw the person watching from the other side, like, so I've just been sitting here, and they keep moving their Cubby back and forth. I don't know what they're trying to destroy.
That sounds like that was a 10-year-old playing. That just wanted to see if they could do it.
No, that sounds like me.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's like a 9 or 10-year-old playing, where I just like, I'm gonna see if I can get him up to 1,000.
Has nothing to do with Mill, but it had to do with buffing.
Wait,
what?
Was it like
Buffing. It was buffing up Cubby.
Like buffing, but instead
I'm just visualizing like Cubby just getting like super buff.
Yeah.
And he's got like these massive arms.
His
and this
clothes are
tiny
just
little
ripping. He's
and
got a small
tiny
face. Small face and a really big like balloon thing, but his face stays the
Exactly. That's how I visualize it. And then it's like a Donald Duck situation, and then he like slowly,
just
like
explodes
back-
everywhere.
Please, if you are listening to this and you have any type of animation, like talent, please send that in to,
What location was
to
it?
us. Please email that to us.
What location
I would
was it?
love to see that.
I don't even. The location doesn't matter. The location wasn't adding.
It just needs to
That's
have
his
to
ability.
be less than one.
Yeah.
One or less.
So he could for free just keep moving them back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Anyway.
Anyway.
What does mill mean, Dad?
It means when you feed Cubby a whole bunch of.
A millipede just comes in.
No. So milling is the type of play that removes cards from your opponent's hand or deck. So
Okay.
build their cards away.
So now like whole new world would be milling?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Typically, like whenever anyone has that in their deck, they call that, oh, that's my mill deck because it takes cards away from the opponent. So that's mill. That you might hear that word like you might throw down your whole new world and people say, oh, you milled me.
Mill.
Resources.
Oh,
what are resources?
It's when you have Item City.
I would think it would be Item City. Yeah.
It's when you have a treasure planet, 2 locations that are one.
Okay,
and
no.
you have a trophy.
All right. I'm at
No, that is one situation, one silly situation that has no use in anything.
I would think resources are like what's available on your board to you to help.
Yeah, probably.
So like maybe items and locations would be resources here, I would guess.
So, Post, it is something on your board, but it is what you use to play cards.
Oh, you know what? I knew that.
So it's what are your resources?
Yeah.
I thought people say like something even like I'm gonna resource.
Yeah, I'm gonna put the resource list. Yeah, I've heard people say that too. Yeah. Calm down.
We've destroyed Emmett with the Cubby talk. He has just completely lost it.
His brain is all the time. All right. Shh. All right. Shh. Pay attention.
Hard cast.
It's when you're picking your like in a draft, like you have to like get rid of the card.
No.
Is it like when you have cards out that are hard to get rid of? So it's like they're like a set.
That's a good guess, but no.
Let me guess.
You say Cubby.
All right, what is it before he says Cubby?
I'm gonna have to think of Cubby.
Okay, shush. Dad, what is it?
Okay, this is when you play a song by paying for it with ink.
Yeah, I was thinking of Chubby singing songs.
All right.
So I'm gonna hard cast the whole new world. I'm gonna hard cast Friends on the Other Side.
So instead
You're
of
playing ink instead of playing it with a singer.
Instead of singing it with a singer. Okay. That is interesting.
Is that all?
Sometimes you also hear that, you know, when you're singing it, you're playing it for free because it's not costing you any resources.
Okay, got you.
Scoop.
Information.
What's the scoop on here?
It's the information
about the other player.
About how the other player is getting his character's buffer.
Okay, we're about to be done.
Okay. Is it like news? Like
No, it's not Lorcana news.
The only thing I can think of is like either it's figuring out what the other player is playing, or has something to do with I don't know, like.
Okay. So usually you're gonna hear this at the end of the game, where someone will just say, "I'm scooping," which means they are conceding a match. They're scooping up their cards, and they're.
Okay.
So you might hear.
Why wouldn't they just say fold? Like, why would they call it scoop?
Because you scoop up your cards.
Yeah,
I don't know. I wasn't there. I wasn't at the meeting where they decided this.
I just feel like I say, I fold, like I'm done. Like, why say scoop?
Why not say it's forfeit?
Okay, so that was the last of my terms for this week. So, that's kind of that's some of the terms you might hear during your Lorcana Championship because these were terms that are used in the TCG trading card game space. They keep getting used. Like I've heard most of these before while we've been playing, while listening to podcasts and all that other kind of stuff. So you might hear them this weekend. So if you do, now you know you have a little bit of context. So that brings us
Two trivia times.
Trivia time. Yes, indeed.
And this first question, Malcolm.
Yeah.
Mom.
How do you already know the question?
Because he went seeking the card out.
You are such a cheater.
I didn't see the answers.
I didn't see the
Malcolm, only you answered it.
All right, the wonderful world of Disney trivia card tells us first, what early character created by Walt Disney was described as being lucky?
Oswald.
Yeah.
Obviously Oswald.
Yes,
Oswald the Lucky
Oswald,
Rabbit.
the Lucky Rabbit.
It was
in
Malcolm's favorite character.
Of all time.
Mm-hmm. You like him better than Goofy?
Barely beating Yoshi. No, I say he's essentially higher than him. I'll figure it out.
Okay.
one's a rabbit and one's a kind of dinosaur, so.
He's a total dinosaur.
He's somehow a male dinosaur that lays eggs.
Yeah.
Do we know that he's a male?
Yes.
From what?
The inventor had gone out and said it.
The lore.
I don't know if that's true.
All right. Anyway.
Anyways, next question. Which Pirates of the Caribbean film won the Academy Award for Best Visual Effects?
Probably the original. I think it's
I'm gonna say
the second.
The third.
All right, we got the third, the second. Malcolm, what's your choice?
The first one is the only good one.
It is Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest.
Is that the third one?
That is the second one.
The second one. Good job.
Good job.
Because I thought that the
Dead
fifth would be
Oh, because they do a lot of the skeleton
that was
stuff.
the Davy Jones
Davy
thing,
Jones
so.
thing. Oh, the Davy Jones thing. Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
So yeah, that makes sense.
All right. What 1989 Disney song was the first to win an Academy Award in 25 years?
The Beauty and the Beast. I'm pretty sure.
Pretty sure.
I know that one won the. Was that 1989?
I think that was Beauty and the Beast.
I know that one. I know that Beauty and the Beast was the first one nominated for an Academy Award as a film that year. So that would be my guess.
Yeah, me too.
I just don't know if it was that year. I don't know if it was 89.
All right.
Is it?
It was Under the Sea.
Ah, that was going to be my next guess. Was The Little Mermaid was before it, right? So it won, and then Beauty and the Beast won 1990. Ugh, see, that's what I couldn't remember.
Take it from me.
Okay, next question. What does Giselle use to make herself some clothes in Enchanted?
Curtains.
That's right. It is curtains for y'all. With this last question, this one made me laugh when I first read it because there is a neighbor of ours that has a small toy pond. And at least I think it's a koi pond. We live in Michigan, so the weather has gone from freezing to 80s to freezing back to the 80s, now down to the 50s.
Well, it literally snowed the day before we left for our spring break vacation. And not just a little snow, 4 inches.
Yeah.
We had to get out the snow blower. And then we came back and it's been consistently 50s, 60s, and then it was almost 80 2 days ago. But the day before that it was hailing, I think.
Yeah.
I think it was hailing because I had to pick up Malcolm from the bus stop because it was literally hailing. And it's been pouring rain the past couple days. So yeah, very weird weather. But anyway.
So they've got this above ground koi pond in their yard.
Maybe 2 feet diameter.
Yeah.
Maybe a foot high, tall.
And it's just a little strange. But if they're setting up koi pond, that's great. But it seems like in the meantime, one of the kids that lives there has decided to make it their own personal play space. I've never actually seen the kid playing with
I did. I saw him the other day.
Oh, yeah?
I saw him. I think he's maybe 8 or 9.
So I've seen an aircraft carrier in there.
Yep.
I've seen an aircraft carrier
Godzilla
and a Triceratops fighting on top of it.
And there's also a little fountain, one of those little
fountain,
solar fountains.
Yeah, that just springs stuff out.
Uh-huh.
Most of the time it looks like it's just barely trying to do stuff. The other day it was full blast, hey, it works.
Because we actually had sun that day.
But near the koi pond, I have also seen Bucky, the toy from Jake and the Neverland Pirates, patrolling to make sure everything is safe.
Bucky?
Just Bucky. I mean, Bucky was the shit.
Bucky?
Do you remember Bucky? He's the little stout one.
No, Bucky's the ship.
Oh, Bucky's the ship. Oh, Bucky the ship.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry, who is Bucky's the name of the ship?
What ship?
The pirate ship.
What pirate ship?
From Jake and the Neverland Pirates.
Pirate ship did that show?
No, there's one
There's
that
two.
Jake drives. Okay, and then there's the giant Jolly Roger, which Captain Hook is the captain of. But Jake is the captain of Bucky. They make you guys had one that you played with all the time.
We did.
Yes, all the time.
Anyway, but yeah, so Bucky
Jake and
is gonna-
Liverine Pirates was a kids show on Disney Junior.
Disney Junior.
That
Pirate Locana cards.
yes, there
Oh
could
my
be Jake and
God.
Liverine Pirates Locana cards. I can't wait for Disney Junior Locana cards. I am so
Sophia,
excited. We're gonna
the first.
I hope the set 5 is called Rise of the Juniors.
Yes, he wants Rise of the Juniors, and they're just going to come up and they're just going to cause havoc because they are all children.
Tiny children. Yeah. We do even that.
And the only one who has a good solid head on her shoulders is Doc McStuffins. But then all of her stuffed animals will come cause even more havoc. Because can you imagine what a stuffy card will be like?
Okay.
Anyway.
Yes, she's gonna have some kind of army of, but all of her cards are gonna be healing stuff. Like,
I know.
oh, she heals you. Oh, she heals
Yes.
you. If I'm taken to battle, all right.
Chili.
No.
Lammy.
I'm taking Sophia the First.
Of course.
She fights actual villains.
Yes, she
not
does.
Stuffed variety.
With magic.
Yeah, with
And
magic.
then we're waiting Lammy.
And Lammy.
Leave Lammy at home. She's gonna heal stuff to her and Nurse Hippo lady.
And then there'll just be Stuffy, which is just overpowered. And then there's gonna be Chili, which
Oh my God! What would a bloodborne Stuffy look like?
Okay, so Chili, a Stuffy, right? It's gonna be, he's gonna have the special ability of stuffed dragon fire, where it only does 1 or 2 damage.
And then Stuffy.
And then Chili's attack will be anxiety.
No.
No. Stasis. Anxiety.
Fail.
You're not sure what you're gonna do.
No, you roll the dice, and if you get an odd number, you discard a card.
Wow, we are really unhinged on this Friday afternoon.
And even if you get an even number, you banish the character.
Crazy rules that you're coming
You
up
banish.
Anyway, I'm guessing it's a Jake and the Neverland Pirate question.
with. Yeah. I mean, it's incredibly easy. So, what are the names of the villains in the preschool TV series Jake and the Neverland Pirates?
It's not for preschoolers.
Okay, yeah, well, it
That's
is.
when you watched it, man.
Is Captain, who is it, Emmett?
Captain Hook and Mr. Smee.
Mr. Smee. Smee.
Smee.
Why are you saying me instead of Smee?
Also, when you said Bucky, I didn't think you meant the pirate suit. I thought you meant the skull from Apple and Ground. And I just why?
And I thought he meant Bucky from the Winter Soldier.
And when he said
All of our brains were completely different.
and when he said Bucky, I thought he meant the skull at the cap.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, that's what he said.
You're like, why are you talking about Jake and the Neverland Pirates when Captain America's best friend is there? Or the squirrel from Emperor's New
Or of the Bucky plushie.
Well, because you were saying there was other action figures like Godzilla, and then you said you saw Bucky, so I was like, oh, they had a Bucky from the Winter Soldier Bucky, and then you're like, because I couldn't remember if they had Marvel questions
Okay,
in
next
here.
question.
So
that was the last question.
yes.
So let's bring this train back on the tracks. And I think that's a good enough place that I need to
I'm
end
pretty
our.
sure we already jumped off the cliff. The train already went off the cliff.
Then let's pull the parachute. Let's hit the brakes. And I want to say thank you to everyone that has made it through the end of this one. Truly do appreciate you listening. If you have questions for the family, apparently.
Or if you've made me an animation that I asked for earlier in the podcast.
Or you just want to let us know what your favorite Bucky is. You can send questions to QuestloreQuestions@gmail.com. Once again, that's QuestloreQuestions@gmail.com. If you are listening to the audio version of it, there is a YouTube version where you can see our smiling faces.
And our cute dog.
So check us out there at QuestLore. If you're watching the video version and wishes that you couldn't see our smiling faces, you can find an audio version of this on all major podcast platforms. Wherever you find us, please like, follow, subscribe, leave a comment, leave a rating. We truly appreciate it. This has been QuestLore. Thank you so much for listening, and have a wonderful day.
And I love the Lucky Rabbit for Lord Connor.